As we continue our conversation on the politics of personality, we now turn to how this phenomenon is shaping the 2027 general elections. Now, political observers note that traditional party loyalty is losing ground. Voters are increasingly prioritizing individual character, competence and track record over party affiliation. Now, this shift is already evident, in discussions around figures like Peter Obi, Sheyi Makinde, Bala Mohammed, Kauram Bauchi, and even President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose economic reforms and handling of national challenges are shaping public perceptions of his re-election prospects. Now, at the same time, the political landscape is being reshaped by shifting alliances, defections, and emerging coalitions. Potential partnerships such as a collaboration between Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi under platforms like the ADC are sparking debates, though internal disputes and competing ambitions threaten unity. Regional power brokers like Nyesom Wike and Nasser El-Rufai remain influential, with personal influence often outweighing formal party structures. Conversations around the 2027 general elections also focus on urgent national concerns, rising inflation, insecurity, and the need for credible elections. Now, citizens are demanding leaders who can deliver tangible results, while social media continues to amplify personality-driven campaigns and youth mobilization. Now, joining us in the studio today is Dr. Victor Kwambuge. Dr. Kwambuge, who is a sustainable development expert, human resource consultant, and political analyst, will help us unpack these dynamics and explore what the politics of personality means for Nigeria's democracy as we approach the 2027 general elections. Good morning, Dr. Victor. Thank you for joining us this morning, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you too.
All right, let's jump right in. Now, let's start at the beginning. How would you define politics of personality, and why is it becoming such a dominant feature in Nigeria's political system?
Okay, thank you very much, and I appreciate you for having me this morning. You are absolutely correct. Politics of personality is gradually dominating our polity. We, as a people, as we are approaching the 2027 general elections, the build-up have started already. And since the build-up have started, when you talk about politics of personality, you are looking at that kind of politics where the center stage is not really on ideological foundations. It's not really on issues, but rather it is based on who is this person rather than where is this person coming from. So when you look at personality-driven politics generally, it's not really bad as such, because it is not bad for people to look at who is coming to represent us, who is coming to lead us, who is coming to drive the hem of affairs in our society. But the only aspect where the problem lies is where it dominates the whole atmosphere. And when it dominates the whole atmosphere, it has a way of relegating issues to the carpet. Issues such as, what are the developmental issues that the country is facing currently? When citizens turn their eyes away from the issues and focus on personality, I think it has a way of affecting the quality of leaders that we are going to get by the time the general elections approach. And if you ask me again, I think that the reason why this is even becoming a topical issue today in Nigeria is because the political parties that we have currently are actually political parties that we are not formed based on strong ideological foundations. You look at the current crops of political organizations that we have. You look at the PDP, you look at the APC, you look at the ADC, the Labour Party, etc. These are political parties that were formed basically to serve as a vehicle to convey people from point this to point that, just to help them win election. So the ideological foundation that is supposed to be the basis for forming political parties is not there. And this is the reason why the citizens are not properly informed to prioritize the aspect of what is the manifesto of this political party. What does this political party stand to deliver by the time they get into power? So instead of that, even the politicians know that all the political parties are the same, and that is why it is easy for people to cross carpet from one party to the other, especially if they feel that their interest is not going to be protected under this very political party. So I think that this is the reason why we have this personality-driven campaign rather than issue-based campaign.
Victor, let me hear your thoughts concerning this. I mean, we're heading towards, the 2027 elections. Now, how are we heading into that year, knowing fully well that it's going to be a general election? Are we heading towards that year as a battle of idea or a battle of personalities? Because if you look at what has been going on with different politicians coming from different political parties, you get to find out that all they are after is, protecting their own ego, their own image, and their own personality that they have been able to build for a number of years.
Absolutely. And this is very unfortunate for us as a people. Very unfortunate, because in 2026, January, Nigeria is at a crossroads. Crossroad because the issue of insecurity, the issue of poverty, the issue of unemployment, name it, all these developmental indices are not really in green as far as this country is concerned. And 2027 election, under normal circumstances, present us with a golden opportunity to itemize what is supposed to be the key agenda for development for our nation, to start scrutinizing, to start doing a national audits. Who is supposed to drive the issue of sustainable development for our people? Who has the requisite qualification? Who has the temperament? Who has the background to enable our nation to move from point A to point B? Unfortunately, this is not dominating the helm of affairs. Right now, you have situations whereby politicians are moving from one political party to the other only because they feel, I cannot get ticket here. This is the only political party that can give me a ticket. And if the issue of gaining power is the only motivation for a politician to move from one political party to the other, they do that at the expense of development. Under normal circumstances, 2026, we are supposed to be driving conversations such as, what are you going to do differently if you are contesting for the presidency of the country, or you are contesting for the #1 seat of the federation? A candidate is supposed to be asked critical questions such as, what are you going to do differently from what the current president is doing? How do you drive the issue of development differently from what the current president is doing? What are your ideas about the issue of improving our inflation figures? What are your ideas about curbing the menace of insecurity in the country? etc. These are the kind of issues. But what do we see? Now we see a situation whereby, okay, this politician is saying that I am going to move from PDP to ADC. This one is moving from ADC to APC. And you ask them as a journalist, definitely the only motivation, if they are going to be sincere to you, is going to be that this political party
is having internal crisis. That has always been the story we keep hearing.
Exactly. But the real truth is the fact that my chances are brighter in that political party. That is why I'm moving. And if that is a motivation, I'm telling you, the issue is not going to be issue-based. Rather, it's going to be personality-based. Personality, because I feel I have more of my likes in this political party. When I go there, I have people that can support me during primary elections or even general elections, and for me to be able to clinch. And the issue of leadership crisis has been one of our major problems as a people. People blame corruption, people blame insecurity and what have you. All of these things are centered on leadership. 2026 presents us, like I said, with the golden opportunity to get our leadership question right. If we fail to get it again, we are in for another problem.
So, Victor, where do you think this shift is coming from? Because I want to use social media as an example. I mean, it's a huge tool. When you go on social media and you see, the banters being thrown from followers of certain political candidates, you would realize that we, the people ourselves, have a problem of having these conversations with our political leader as to what you rightly stated, as to what they tend to do differently when they come in next year. I mean, we should not be talking about who is fighting who helped who, and is not, paying loyalty to that person. That is not the issue we're facing at this point. So where is that shift coming from? Is it that, the followers are blinded? Or is it that the political, should I say, the political actors now, are they the ones, fueling this division just to take out the concentration of the followers as to the main issues that we're facing in Nigeria that we can have these conversations about? Because at this point, like you said, 2026 is going to present us the golden opportunity to ask questions. So far, so good. We have not seen any town hall meetings anywhere coming up to, state things that are meant to, be talked about. So where is that shift coming from?
Thank you. That's a very good question. Our agencies, our institutions are not really doing enough in terms of political education, in terms of voter education for our people. I am looking at agencies like the INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission. I'm looking at agencies like the National Orientation Agency. These are agencies that are having the statutory responsibilities to drive conversations, to shape the minds of the people. 2027 election, let me make this point again, is going to present a new set of voters at the polling unit. New set of voters because you have people that were born in 2009, they will be eligible to vote because they will be 18 by 2027. Those people do not really have the kind of information that other people, older people have. When we used to go to the polling unit, we used to know the history of, SDP, NRC, etc., who is Babangida, who is Obasanjo, and what have you. This new set of people that are coming to line up at the polling unit, they will only rely on what they read on the social media.
Absolutely.
And what do they read currently? They read about, this person embezzled money in the past, this person was instrumental to this person going out of prison, and what have you. These are not issues that are supposed to drive. And those people, like I said, they form a significant block of political demography in 2027. They will determine, politics is a game of number. The majority will definitely have their way. So if these people constitute the majority, so it simply means that they will determine the fate of the nation tomorrow. And if they are not properly informed by these relevant agencies that I'm telling you, INEC has a department of political voter education. These are the things that they are supposed to constantly, on the screens of television station, on our radio stations, in fact, any kind of opportunity, they are supposed to be ringing these jingles where people are supposed to know these are the kind of questions, these are the kind of things, these are the kind of checklists that people are supposed to have before they make any decision about which political party they are supposed to vote, which political party they are not supposed to vote. I give you this example. I traveled home for Christmas. And when I went to my village, I had an opportunity to just organize a meeting with the youths. It's not a campaign. It's not just for us to sit down and just to discuss community-related issues. And the people told me one thing. They said, this is the first time. You are not a politician in the strict sense of the word, but this is the first time that we are having any kind of community leader sitting us down to hear us. It's not campaign period, but just to hear us, what are our issues, what are we going to do better, how do we collaborate with the relevant agencies to make sure that we drive the agenda for development. So that tells me that there is a big gap. There is a big gap because when people get elected, they forget about the aspect of community engagement. They forget about the aspect of going down to sit down with these people that constitute the voting population, to hear them, to be able to articulate the agenda for development. Mind you, the whole idea of participatory democracy is all about listening to the voices of the people and that voices shaping the public policy that we are supposed to have. But rather what we have is a complete disconnect between what we see as public policy with the real yearnings and aspirations of the people. And I think that is where the problem is.
Another concern is when you look at, all the political parties that we have in Nigeria, be it APC, be it PDP, Labour Party and the likes, all of them, they claim to stand for certain values.
Yeah.
But when you ask the average Nigerian voter clearly to tell you what this party stand for, they cannot even mention it. They only know these people by their names, right? And it just really shows how idea has faded out in our political system. And then most times when these politicians move freely between, one party to another, you find out that their supporters move alongside with them. It's like a movement, they're moving down to it. So isn't this a clear evidence that ideology in Nigeria has been replaced by personality? I'm
tempted to ask, have we ever had political parties that have concrete ideologies? Maybe during the First Republic, when we had the Northern People's Congress, the NCNC, the Action Group, formed by those early nationalists. Probably that period, and maybe as a political scientist, I remember there was a political party called People's Redemption Party formed by Malam Aminu Kano. It was a party that actually pushed the agenda of the Talakawas and tried to make sure that the downtrodden are actually prioritized. After then, I cannot really tell you with all confidence, even though, I stand to be corrected, that there is a political party that was formed in the defunct Third Republic, NRC and SDP. And in 1999, we had the PDP, we had the ANPP, we had, AD, Action Alliance or something. So these political parties were formed because there was a need for people to contest elections and for people to win elections. Currently, we have the ADC, the PDP, the APC, the Labour Party. Ask all these supporters that you are talking about. You are moving with Peter Obi from Labour Party to ADC. What is the difference? What is the sharp difference between the ideology of the Labour Party with this new political party that you are forming? Honestly, you are not going to get any quality answer. The same thing applies with the followers of Atiku Abubakar. The same thing applies with the followers. So all of these political parties, like I said, were formed not because there is an ideology. When you read about the politics in the United States, for example, the Republican Party and the Democrats, these are parties that are formed based on concrete ideologies. An average citizen in the United States of America can tell you what to expect by the time Donald Trump won the election, I think 2 years ago. When Barack Obama was in power, people know that, okay, there is a paradigm shift from what we are doing now. This is the new methodology. This is going to be the new approach. This is going to be the new perspective. In Nigeria now, if Tinubu is the president under APC, the ideology, I don't know. But if he happens to continue or another president comes into being, I cannot tell you the difference. And that is because from the campaign period, going back to your issue now, personality driven, from the campaign period, people don't ask questions about manifestos. People don't ask questions about what are your policies and programs that you are going to bring to the fore to change the face of our nation, to drive the agenda for development. Instead, people are asking, who is this person? Rather than where this person is coming from. Is this person a Christian? Is it a Muslim ticket? Why do we have a northerner this time around? Why not a southerner? Is the tone of the east? Is a Melokon? And all of these things are personality driven. They are not really issue based. And by the time, if we don't really shift our focus from this issue of personality, from this issue of is this person coming from an aristocratic background, or is this person coming from here, or why is this? If we don't ask questions about issues, what are your pedigree? What are your credentials? What are those things that when you come into being, what are your ideas about the issue of sustainable development? 30 years from in 2030, the SDG goals are going to be expired. How do we ensure that Nigeria meets at least 5 out of the 15 goals of the Sustainable Development Goals? When we don't ask questions along this line and we keep asking about tribe, religion, this and that, I think we will continue to sound like broken records.
All right, Victor, let's take a look at the health of our democracy. I mean, each time we talk about democracy in Nigeria, the first question people ask is, really, are we really practicing democracy in Nigeria? So why I'm asking this is because, I have seen a lot of criticism online and, comments that do follow. So is it possible to criticize a political leader, either a governor, a president, or, House of Rep members that are not doing the needful, that are not doing what they are meant to do while they are there, and not being labeled as, an enemy of this person? Is it that we have lost it when it comes to holding our leaders accountable in a democratic system?
The hallmark of any successful democracy is for people to have a right to freedom of expression. Freedom of expression also includes the right to hold the leaders accountable, the right to constructively criticize the leaders without necessarily resorting to insults and calumny.
Absolutely.
So if the issue of opinion, the issue of criticism is missing, then you are not operating a democracy. You are gradually drifting towards tyranny and dictatorship. And why do people love democracy? People love democracy because in a democratic system, the minority will always have their say, while the majority will have their way. And when we say the minority having their say, sometimes their say may not necessarily constitute what becomes the programs, the policies, the bills, the laws, etc. But let them have an opportunity where they can voice out their opinion. So where the issue of criticism or opposition are being stifled, where their voices is being silenced, then you should know that the democratic system that you claim to be practicing is not really a successful democracy, in quote. So people allowed to express their views is a significant ingredient in any kind of democratic system. Look at countries that have excelled in democracy. People have the right, to sue the government. People have the right to come on media stations like this to air out their opinion without necessarily having a fear of any any kind of attacks or, why did you say this about the government and what have you. And the unfortunate thing is the fact that at the community level, at the local level, when you go to some of these communities, we have some politicians that have elevated themselves to semi-gods. People on the street dare not talk about them. When they hear somebody saying anything contrary to what they want to hear, they order the instrument of the state, they order the police, the civil defense and what have you, to go have them arrested, have them locked up, just for expressing an opinion. Mind you, I am not unmindful of the fact that some people can extend that handshake to the ankle by going beyond constructive criticism to attacking the personality or to attack the family or to even, defame the character of that person. I understand that aspect, but where people are criticizing the government constructively under normal circumstances, the leaders are supposed to listen to those kind of voices, and where they feel that this voice is applicable to whatever system that they want to do, of course, it's something that they can do. So divergent opinion, constructive criticism, public opinion is a very important component of any kind of democracy. Like I said, it is the hallmark of successful democracies.
So how might this impact the long-term health of Nigeria's democracy? Excuse me.
Yeah, so it's one of the ways, or it is one of those things that advocates of electoral reforms are also insisting that we should have in our electoral system. Right now, we should have a situation where we provide good avenue for people to be able to voice out their opinion. Right now, there are a lot of agitations and clamor that our electoral system needs a lot of reforms. Need a lot of reforms in the sense that we should have a system where people are allowed, given platforms. Aside the issue of social media, aside the issue of electronic and print media, we have the National Assembly. We have the state houses of assembly that organize what they call public hearings and what have you. These are avenues for people to be able to voice out their opinion. So this is something that can significantly improve the health of our democracy if we really strengthen the voices of the opposition, if we strengthen the voices of people bringing divergent opinions. Right now, we have we have these electoral reforms that I'm telling you at the advanced stage, even at the National Assembly. I hope it sees the light of the day. And I hope the aspect of allowing people to continue to voice out their opinion without necessarily going hard on opposition will see the light of the day. But unfortunately, like I said, pessimism is taking over because people are now afraid that we are gradually drifting towards a one-party system. And people are afraid that if this current state is allowed to continue unabated, we will have situations whereby one day we'll wake up and everybody is just singing one song.
All right. So as we approach 2027, what worries you more? Is it voter apathy or, blind loyalty from the people?
Both. Voter apathy in the sense that I listened to one of the conversations you had before I came into the studio, where somebody was saying he doesn't even have a voter's card. I'm glad that you excused the vulgar language he used along the line, but that is also to show you the kind of frustrations that the citizens are currently having about the political system, and that is to also tell you the kind of impression that the people have about the government. Voter apathy, when you look at the off-cycle election that took place in 2025, one of the issues that were reported by observers, both national and international, is the fact that people did not really turn out as expected to go out and vote. I hope that situation doesn't repeat itself in the 2027 election, because INEC will present a different figure that these are the number of registered voters, but when you listen or when you see the results, when you see the numbers of people that actually turn out to vote, the figures are not always encouraging. And that is down to the fact that people do not really have enough confidence in the system. People do not have enough trust in the system. So there is going to be definitely voter apathy. And again, I still repeat, I still insist, our institutions need to do more. The INEC, the NOA, and all relevant institutions, the civil society, the non-governmental organizations, they need to do more in pushing the people to understand what they need to start asking. They can help people to develop a checklist. What are they expected to see? What should they insist to see on with any political party before they vote them? We need to start insisting that political parties need to have concrete ideologies. Political parties need to present a manifesto. We need to listen to this candidate. We don't just want to see posters, billboards, and jingles on the screens of our television stations. We need to hear these candidates. We need to be convinced that this person really have what it takes to take us from our land of backwardness to the land of Demerara.
Thank you so much, Dr. Victor Kwambuge, for making it to the studio this morning and having this conversation. Indeed, until we see politics as a tool of governance, our democracy will continue to suffer. And if we, don't differentiate between political personalities and addressing issues the way they ought to be addressed, then I think we're still going to continue facing the problems that we're facing. Thank you so much for stopping by.